What would happen if you stopped talking? Not forever, just for 7 days. No unnecessary conversations, no random opinions, no explaining yourself to people who don't even care. Just silence. Most people think silence is empty, but it's not. Silence is where everything begins. Because the moment you stop talking, you start noticing. Not just the world, but yourself. We live in a time where everyone is speaking, but almost no one is aware. People talk to fill space. They talk to feel important. They talk because they're afraid of being forgotten. But what if all that talking is actually draining you? What if every unnecessary word is taking away your energy, your focus, your power? Think about it. How many times have you said something and instantly regretted it? How many times have you over-explained yourself just to be understood? How many times have you spoken when silence would have made you stronger? This is the experiment. 7 days. You don't stop talking completely. You just become intentional. You speak only when necessary, only when it matters, only when your words actually have value. Everything else? You let it go. Day 1 feels strange. You catch yourself mid-sentence, stopping. It's almost automatic, like your brain is wired to fill every gap with words. You feel awkward. Silence in conversations feels heavy, uncomfortable. You start thinking, should I say something? Is this weird? What are they thinking about me? And that's when you realize something powerful. You don't talk just to communicate. You talk to control how others see you. Day 2 hits even harder. Now you're more aware of your habits. You notice how often you interrupt, how often you speak without thinking, how often your words don't even matter. You also notice something else. People don't actually care as much as you thought. That fear of what will they think starts fading. Because most people are too busy thinking about themselves. Day 3 changes everything. You start observing more. You listen deeply, not just to words, but to tone, pauses, expressions. You begin to see what people really mean, not just what they say. You notice fake laughter, forced conversations, people trying too hard to impress. And for the first time, you're not part of that noise. You're outside of it, watching, understanding, learning. Day 4 brings clarity. Your mind becomes quieter, not completely silent, but less chaotic. Because you're no longer constantly reacting. You're choosing, you're filtering, you're thinking before speaking. And that creates space. Space to understand yourself. You start asking deeper questions. Why do I feel the need to talk so much? Why do I seek validation? Why do I react so quickly? And slowly, you begin to understand your own mind. Day 5 introduces power. A different kind of power. Not loud, not aggressive, but calm, controlled. You don't feel the need to prove anything anymore. You don't rush to respond. You don't argue just to win. You don't explain your every move. And something strange happens. People start noticing you more. Not because you're louder, but because you're quieter. Because silence creates presence. When you speak less, people listen more. When your words are rare, they become valuable. You become someone people pay attention to. Not because you demand it, but because you don't. Day 6 feels different. You start enjoying the silence. It's no longer awkward. It's peaceful. You feel more in control of your emotions. Situations that used to trigger you don't affect you the same way. Because you're not reacting instantly anymore. You're choosing your response. Or sometimes, choosing no response at all. And that's real strength. You realize something most people never understand. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every comment needs a reply. Not every situation needs your reaction. Not every person deserves access to your thoughts. Day 7 changes your identity. You're not the same person anymore. You don't speak just to avoid silence. You don't speak just to fit in. You don't speak just to be liked. You speak with intention. It changes how you see yourself. You realize how much energy you were wasting, explaining yourself, defending yourself, trying to be understood by people who never tried to understand you. And now, you don't feel that need anymore. Because silence taught you something powerful. Your value doesn't come from how much you say. It comes from how much you understand. But here's the part nobody talks about. Silence can feel lonely. Because when you stop engaging in meaningless conversations, you start outgrowing people. You start seeing through fake connections. You start realizing not everyone deserves your time, your words, your energy. And that can hurt. But it also sets you free. Because you stop lowering yourself just to fit into places you've already outgrown. You become more selective, more aware, more real. And in that process, you don't lose people. You find yourself. So try it. 7 days. Talk less. Not to isolate yourself. Not to become someone cold. But to understand your power. Because in a world full of noise, the one who controls their silence controls everything. And sometimes, the strongest message you can send is saying nothing at all.